This is the Speaker's Scoop, a behind-the-scenes weekly podcast with Washington House Speaker Laurie Jinkins. What's going on this week in the legislature?
Well, we're working on bills in committees, and members are really starting to run kind of fast and furious with the bills they filed and getting them heard and then getting them moved out of committee. So it's hard right now to know what will come out of committee and what things may end up being, the highest priorities that we move through. But, one of the big things that happens, I think, right now during session is I'm always reminded during this time of the year and as we move forward that one of the things about legislative session is that nobody does anything alone. So when I'm talking about committee hearings, right, you can file a bill, but you've got to get support from committee members. You've got to get a committee chair to hear your bill. You've got to work in a bipartisan way if you can to try and get support across the aisle. But for me, when I sit here at the leadership table, I think about this in a big way that the House of Representatives can't do anything alone. We can't do it without the Senate. And we also, need the governor eventually for a bill to become law. And so one of the biggest new things that's happening this year is that Senate Democrats are in the majority in the Senate, and they have a new Senate Majority Leader, Jamie Peterson. And, this has been really a great experience for me because Senator Peterson and I have known each other for 30 years, have worked together on all kinds of issues, but particularly LGBTQ issues before either of us were ever in elected office when we were kind of young whippersnapper advocates working on things. And then I eventually became chair of the Civil Rights and Judiciary Committee in the House, and Senator Peterson had been the chair of that committee prior to me when he served in the House, but he was serving as chair of kind of our twin committee in the Senate. And so he and I got the chance to work together legislatively very closely on all sorts of bills. So we can kind of predict a lot of ways that the other might react to something. So we're able to anticipate problems, talk to each other about problems, work out details, really kind of quickly and easily so far. I know it'll get harder as session goes on, but it's been really kind of fun to be in spaces with him where either he or I are telling groups of people that there's no daylight between us in terms of how we view an issue and how we think our caucus is working on an issue. So we think the House and the Senate are working together really, really strongly this year. And that is something that's going to be very, very important considering how challenging a budget year this is for us. So I'm particularly excited about that. And even on the Republican side, Senator Braun in the Senate has been in his role for a long time, and I'm now in my 6th year as Speaker. And so he and I also have a relationship. And there's a new House Minority Leader, Drew Stokesbury. So we're still building our relationship and working together, but I have confidence that we'll be able to continue doing that too. So the more we work together, the more we'll get done on behalf of the people of the state.
And listeners can hear from you and Senator Peterson weekly on the joint leadership availabilities, media availabilities, which are posted to your Facebook page as well as to the TVW website on tvw.org every week, usually on Tuesdays. Is that right?
Yeah, we have a weekly media availability when members of the press can ask us anything they want to ask us. So we're grilled by the press, and thus far they've been great and enjoyable. Even when we get asked hard questions, it's good to feel like there are people out in the public who are paying attention and using that opportunity to kind of hear about what's happening during legislative session.
Washington House Speaker Laurie Jinkins. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Jen.